Hello, I am back in part whatever of my epic road trip in the 2019 Dodge Durango RT. This is actually my personal vehicle, and I'm driving it on my epic trip. Destination not quite revealed. So, we are almost 100 miles into the trip, and we're now averaging 18.3 mpgs in the 5.7 liter V8. I just got out of traffic about 15 miles ago. So now the road is completely open. We just got outside of Weatherford, which is where Oliver Loving is buried. Oliver Loving is actually one of the cattle drivers of the Oliver Loving Trail. Goodnight Loving Trail. So there's Charles Goodnight, who invented the chuck wagon and ended up getting like one of the biggest ranches in the Texas Panhandle near Palo Duro Canyon. And then we have Oliver Loving. Oliver Loving died from an arrow. He was shot by an Indian, and he didn't want to amputate a limb, so he passed away like 2 weeks after he got hit. So he's buried over in Weatherford, and we just left that area. Now we have 555 miles to go, and the funny thing is, you've probably never seen this before on your GPS. I have 554 miles until my next maneuver. So, like the next right turn, the next whatever, I have to go 554 miles. I bet you've never seen that before. Only in Texas. So I'm on Interstate 20, and I'm just going and going and going. And right here where we're at is about the place, 554 miles. So that distance is about what my road trip videos were on Diesel Review or Diesel Drives, where I took diesel vehicles from Austin to El Paso. So we're heading to El Paso, and right about now is the distance I would take a diesel vehicle on a single tank of fuel. We have so far used an eighth of a tank, and we have a range of 317 miles. So at some point I will have to fill up, and we will do that. But for now it's just wide open road, and yeah, so far so good. I got out of traffic. It was pretty bad. Our fuel economy now is 15.5. You can see there. That's the total average since I bought the vehicle, and I only have 4664. So I have just under 5,000 miles on the car, and you can see the stats here on this trip. These are the stats right there since I bought it. And of course the time looks like it's pretty low. It's actually more than 41 hours. And let me move lanes here. You gotta move lanes because of that truck. In Texas, you move over or slow down. I'll just move over. It's the way I do it. Okay, on the map here, we have some cool stuff. If I go back to menu, and what do? We hit information. I'll hit the trip computer, and now you'll see we've done, since the reset at the fuel station. Sorry, the camera can't focus. Let me wipe this lens off. Sorry about that. Alright, hopefully that'll work. Nope, still doesn't want to work. There's a lot of glare here. Focus! That's probably better. Average speed 59 miles an hour, distance traveled 97 miles, 552 miles to go. And then if we scroll down, you'll see I hit a maximum speed of 106 miles an hour. I don't mess around on my trips, and I've traveled so far 1.5 hours, and we've spent a good 1.5 hours moving. And if we go to continue, we'll see we've spent 6 minutes and stopped. So, not too much stop and go traffic, just slow congestion. And now we're back on the open road. So I'm going to keep that rolling. We're going to go back to the map. Okay. This is the beauty, by the way, of having a built-in GPS rather than using your phone for guidance. At some point, we will not have any reception. Just wide open road. And I do want lunch. I totally forgot to get lunch. It is 3 o'clock, and I am hungry. I do have some beef jerky in the car, but I don't want to use it just yet. I just have it there for actual, like, emergencies, in case I get a flat or two flats, right? Sometimes you don't get just one flat tire, and I want to make sure that if I'm stuck on the side of the road, I can survive. It's not so bad out here. Just wait till I get further and further and further away from here, and closer and closer and closer to El Paso. So when you think Texas is nothing but desert, you're wrong. Like, as you go further east, the trees get taller. It gets more like woody. And this is in the center. This is central Texas. If I zoom out, it's kind of a better representation. I don't know if I'm gonna get state lines. Nope, no state lines. Well, nope. And that's upside down too, so that doesn't work. Basically, I'm pretty close to the center of Texas. And we're, let's see if I put it to, I have it all configured. I don't want to change it. Anyway, I don't have it north up. I have it heading up. But we're on our way, and there we go. 100.6 miles, 18.4 mpgs. Anyway, this is your 100-mile update, and we're moving right along. We're doing quite well, and I will see you at the next 100-mile update. So either when we hit 200 miles, or if something happens, I will give you status. By the way, we're now entering a place called Ranger, Texas, I think. And everything's just kind of like terraced and hilly. It's really cool over here. I like it. This is like, that's what it looks like in my mirror. But it, like, you just start terracing. Yeah, Ranger, 28 miles. Anyway, it's a cool part of Texas. I love this area. I hardly get through this because I'm usually running through the side of Austin. And this is a picturesque drive. Pretty good vistas, and it's nothing like a mountain range, but we still have cool things to see. It's just very picturesque. And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, these mile markers. You can see that one's 379. Keep an eye on those mile markers, because we do know that mile markers count down or up, but when you get down to the mile markers heading south or west, they count down to the state line. So there's something really funny that happens when you're like, oh, I'm Interstate 20, and I have a long ways to go here, you can see, before my next maneuver, but we're basically on our way, and the mile marker's counting down. This is how would you want to say it? This is, if you didn't have GPS and you're counting on the mile markers to tell how far away you are, you'd be like, oh, this is not so bad. I got this. So keep an eye on that, because there's something funny that happens in Texas. All right, stay tuned. Well, it's 3:30, and I've got 138 miles, so this is like a 40-mile update. But you look at road trips, and you start off with some anxiety, and you go, oh my God, really? Do I really want to do a road trip? Am I crazy? And the reality is, yeah, you're crazy. But once you start getting out into the open road, and then you start seeing, like, the countryside, for whatever it's worth, and then you start smelling the fresh air, you realize, yeah, I needed to escape my reality of where I live, and I need to just explore and do things and see and just like enjoy what's out there. So that's kind of the point of doing a road trip. You get to see things that you would normally just fly over if you were to fly. So we're taking another day or a day and a half or 2 days out of our trip, but this is actually the trip. So you would look at it and go, well, you know, driving takes forever, but this is the trip. You're already on the trip. So when you fly, you kind of don't start your trip until you arrive. You have to land somewhere first. Here, I'm already on my trip. And you know, they say it's not the destination, it's the journey, but this is definitely the journey. We have 508 miles to go, and this is where I am right now in Texas. It's really bright out, if you can't tell. The cameras can't even focus. And we're averaging 19 mpgs since the fill up, but if we look at the overall, we're at 16.3. So the overall fuel economy is increasing. Since the fuel up economy is going to take longer because we haven't gone, I really don't understand that yet, but we'll see. I'm trying to hit 23. In the Chrysler 300S, I hit 27 to my destination. So I know we can't get 27 in here, but it would be great to see the difference between these two vehicles with the same engine in at least somewhat of a relative the same trip. Now, you know, earlier I hit like 106 miles an hour, and the thing is, when you're out here driving, you don't need to go too fast. You don't need to go much faster than the speed limit, because eventually you're gonna have to pull off to get fuel, you're gonna have to pull off to get food, you're gonna have to pull off to just take a break. And if you go another 5 miles an hour or 10 miles an hour, if you're trying to go 90 miles an hour to make up time, you're gonna lose, because you're gonna have to fill up sooner. You're gonna end up spending the same amount of time at the rest stop or at the restaurant, and all you're really doing is wasting your time. So whatever the speed limit is, in this case it's 75, it's red because I'm going a few miles an hour over that speed limit. I've got cruise control set to 77. So we're doing 77, and we're getting pretty good fuel efficiency out of it. There's no point in going slower, but if we were to do 85, we're gonna gain like over an hour. We're only gonna gain 11 miles, and I can do 11 miles in 9 minutes. So you're really gonna risk the speeding ticket for 11 minutes or 9 minutes? Is it really worth it? Because you're gonna take that long just to fill up, and you're gonna fill up sooner. So it's like, just chill. And in the city, it's different. Like, you gotta get around people and you gotta do stuff. But when you're out on the open road, no point. There's no point in doing more than the speed limit. Take that tip from me. I've done it many, many times. Eastland, that's where we're at now. Eastland. I don't know where it is, but it's here. Looks like they're building stuff. That's a pad there. But it kind of looks also like a ghost town. What does that water tank say? Lake Leon. Okay. Whoever Leon is. And there you go. We're on our way to like Midland, Odessa kind of area. Abilene is the next big town, and I think Abilene's about 50 miles away. So somewhere around the 200-mile mark, we'll be really close to Abilene, and I'll give you an update then. Nice Domino's in the middle of nowhere. What the heck? Pretty good vistas too. I don't know where we are. Some kind of town there. It's funky. See, you'd be flying over all this stuff and ignoring it, or you can take one trip and just do a drive. I mean, not all of it's going to be excellent looking, but you're going to discover cool stuff, maybe. All right, I'll be up with you at the 200 mark. By the way, we're near a town called Moran. You're such a moron. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. Let's see. About current city, Baird. Well, eventually that's going to change to Moran. Something like that. We are now close to Abilene, and we're not quite at the 200-mile mark on the trip odometer. We're at 168. However, you'll notice that the landscape is going to change from here on out. That's because we're entering in like the oil country, and this is where we're going to start seeing more oil derricks, which are the big pump jack things that go in the ground and pull the oil out. So you're going to see some really cool stuff. Some of them might look scary to you, but that's where we're at. And plus, it's really going to stink really bad because it smells like raw sewage and dead fish at the same time. That's what, like, here's a abandoned ghost town looking thing. It's crazy. Yeah, if I had more time, I would do a cool photo shoot with this car in front of it, but I just never have this kind of time, and I don't even know. I just know that in Putnam, you can take a cool shot in front of like an abandoned ghost town looking thing right off the Interstate 20 over here, Putnam. All right, let's see. There we go. All right. I will get up to you when we get to the 200-mile mark, and we'll be near Abilene, and I'm going to get lunch because I need it. Abilene, there's a sign coming up, is 32 miles away. So let's pass this truck. Sounds good. Got cruise control set. We're cruising. We still have 478 miles to go. This is a long trip here, and we got a lot of crosswind, and yeah, we're working. This is work. It's not too bad, but it's like you want to reduce fatigue and things, so you're kind of limited to on an SUV higher up. You've got a lot of like swaying and things going on. Kind of the downside to having SUVs for road trips. However, there's a lot of space in here, and it has thicker sidewall tires, so it absorbs more of the bumps. And it's no Lexus GSF, I'll tell you that. And it's definitely more fuel efficient than that Infiniti. But we're going to make our way to lunch. We're probably not going to pass this truck. We will. All right. I'll catch up with you in a few minutes. This is interesting. We're in like a tiny town, Texas. Actually, you'd think it's that. There's Whataburger, an institution, no longer actually, because a Chicago VC firm bought it. We are, though, in a town called Clyde, which probably is named after Clyde from Bonnie and Clyde, which there was a movie on Netflix called The Highwaymen, and it was about the the Marshals, the state Texas Marshal kind of guys, the Texas Rangers, and we were just in Ranger, Texas, which is really funny because there's like a huge story about Texas I can tell you along the way, but there's just not enough battery life or storage space on my camera to give you this entire story of Texas as I go through, but it'd be really cool to do one day. We are about 13 miles away from the 200-mile update, and probably 20 minutes away from me getting lunch or dinner or whatever you want to call it, because it's already 4:15. Then, yeah. Anyway, Clyde, Texas, everybody. Clyde, Texas. Remarkable. Or not. What's on the other side of this hill? More road, more hills. Okay, I'll give you an update soon. Well, that didn't take long. We're just still actually in Clyde, and all of a sudden the landscape changed. We went from oak trees and little hills to sort of like fewer hills and brush, it looks like. So this is now, this is now new geography for you. And this is kind of what it looks like in Austin as you're leaving Austin and the Dripping Springs area and stuff like that. So this should be familiar to some of you who've seen my videos. We're entering in some familiar territory, but this is a different area of Texas where we're doing it. lot of farmland too. And a rest area. These rest areas have Wi-Fi, and presumably because farmers and people who are in business and stuff kind of need that. There used to be cell phone reception was terrible around here because there's nothing around, but the reception's pretty good. You can see my phone has 4 bars. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad at all. Even when people go speeding by. I'm doing 75. Okay. We're gonna get to Abilene, and then we're gonna see these oil derricks and stuff. You're gonna see some crazy stuff. You will also see a ton of windmills. A ton. So it's all gonna blow your mind. I guarantee it. It's gonna blow your mind. Yep. Look at this abandoned area here. This is crazy. Not much here. We did pass like a central kind of townish area. It wasn't downtown Abilene, because Abilene is like in the middle of all that. But essentially, I passed through, and I didn't stop because it was just Chick-fil-A and Raising Cane's and DQ. So I'd rather have the beef jerky, to be honest. We are at 200 miles and 19.6 mpgs, so we are doing better. I'm pegged at 77 miles an hour on the cruise control. We've been driving for 3 hours. But look at the overall. It's increased from like 14 mpgs to 17.6. So we are doing well. We're still up on the open road. We're on 20 towards El Paso. And moving over. And eventually I'm going to stop at a rest stop and then go get the jerky out of the back. I can't concentrate anymore, but we do have other areas coming up. We have Midland and Odessa. There's a lot of stuff between here and El Paso, and we still have 444 miles to go, which is insane. Totally insane. We're still in Texas, and it's 100 degrees out. Doesn't feel like it in here because the AC works so well, and I have heated and cooled seats, or vented seats. I don't know why I can't focus, but there we are. And the trees are back. We have big trees again. Abilene. I don't know why. This is driving me crazy. Alright. Oh yeah, there's a huge mountain range out there. That dark, looks like a dark cloud, low-hanging cloud. It's actually a mountain range. That's where at night you'll see a lot of red lights because there's a ton of windmills over there. And we're kind of entering that area where there are windmills and there are oil derricks. There's a racetrack or something over here. Huh. I don't know what that is. But it's going to be windy. It's going to start smelling different. And the air's clear. Air's clean. It's nice out. That's it. I'm going to open the sunroof. Turn on the music. Woo! All right. Fresh air. Yeah. There's that mountain range I was talking about. I don't know what you would call it, but you could see the windmills up there, the power generation turbines, whatever you want to call them. It's up to you today. Today you get to call anything whatever you want. And we are entering into flatter land. We're in an area called Merkel. Focus, dang it. Merkel. There you go. 426 to go. It's 4:42 outside. 100 degrees. We still have a while to go. And yeah, oh, there's an oil derrick, oil pump jack. So we're starting to see it all. There's a well. This is like, you see that and you know it's gonna smell bad. And then we have animals. We got everything we need right here. And a field to plow. Kind of cool. All right, and power lines, which you'll rarely see in Texas. I'm gonna get around this Tacoma because I can. And I gotta think about fuel because I'm at the halfway mark on the fuel tank, and I have a range of 225 miles. Miles. And so yeah, I have the highway panel up, but I want to find like a truck stop because they're more efficient with refueling and they got a lot of fuel that they go through. I'd rather not go to like an old town, old-timey kind of like gas station out here because I don't want fuel that's been sitting in tanks for like 2 months. Yeah, so plenty of people behind me, plenty of big trucks. By the way, you'll see a lot of Ram trucks out here. Ram trucks do a lot of the driving, the long haul kind of stuff, and that's a big one. Anyway, onwards. We're gonna keep going. I'm gonna do this right now. I'm gonna do like voice recognition and see if it can find. See, flat tires. Not fun. I'm gonna see if the voice recognition can find Love's truck stop. We'll see where the nearest one is. Find nearest Love's truck stop.
There are multiple entries for truck stop. Select a line number, say page up, page down, or say back.
2.
Sweetwater, Texas. Now, do you want to start route guidance?
Yes.
Starting route guidance.
Cool. So you'll see what it did was it retained our original destination and it added a POI called Love's Truck Stop along the route, which is that yellow flag, which is really cool to animate. And then it's 13 miles away, and it did it along the route. So it didn't find anything behind us. It didn't find anything off the way. It just said, it's on the way. That's where we're going. And that's how easy it was on this vehicle. Easy. That's why automotive journalists drive Dodge Durangos. So those of you who knock it, you have no freaking clue what you're talking about. This technology, the way it's used, the way you just get around, that's the effortless aspect to this vehicle. And that's why I had a Chrysler 300S Hemi. So keep that in mind when you're looking for a road trip vehicle, especially if you're like, well, we gotta rent one. Definitely rent a Durango, and it better be a good one. Better have all these features in it, because you're gonna love it. It's gonna make a great trip for you. Look at that view. Incredible. Wow. Just nothing like an open road, right? Look at that view. Look at the view. Look at the view. Look at the view. Oh my God. Nice. Back to the music. Okay, I forgot to record the exit. I don't think any of you were actually interested in it, but now it's time to get some fuel. So I'm gonna fill up here, and we're gonna not reset it, but we're gonna end up with like we'll see what the range is when we get back in and see if we can get all the way to El Paso with a tank and a half. El Paso tank and a half from Dallas. That'll be interesting. All right, so I'm gonna grab the bite to eat, and then I'll catch you later. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, I moved from the fuel pumps over to this parking spot so I don't block the pumps. And I went in there for some food. And, well, let's start this thing up. All right. 5:15, by the way. I'm not making any progress here on time. And the range is 459. So right there, immediately, no. I don't think we will make it to Austin. El Paso. Oh, we will. 403 to go. So, 403 miles to El Paso, 459 range. So we're within like 56 miles-ish. It's rough math right now, because I'm sure as I drive that'll change. And that'll just kind of go down, obviously. So yeah, let's see. I'm gonna put my seatbelt on and hit the road, and hopefully we'll get there before 10 p.m. Let's see, time of arrival, 10:03. Wow, close, pretty close. We're gonna go with distance. Well, time remaining, 5 hours, 45 minutes. Okay, so onward we go. Wow, I'm not even like 5 miles from where I was, and we look like we're in like central California here, like in the Imperial Valley. The funny thing is, the name of this place is called Roscoe. There's a Roscoe Boulevard in Van Nuys. Look at this. Who knew? Like, you'd go to this in Texas like in a heartbeat. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And then we got the windmills too, which you don't see many of in California. In the fields of like Oxnard, which this kind of, if I told you I was in Oxnard right now, or like somewhere in Ventura County, you'd probably believe me, except you would be like, well, where are the mountains? There are no mountains. It's like, are we on a plateau? This is funky. I forgot about this kind of area. I don't remember seeing so much green pasture, well, not pasture, but fields. Looks like they're growing spinach? I can't tell what that is. Anyway, it's amazing. Lots of stuff going on here. Averaging 19.2, 254 miles done on the trip. 394 to go. And I will give you a status update at 300, or unless I come across something pretty cool and interesting. But this is a trip, man. What a trip. Outside of Colorado City, Texas. Could you imagine cattle driving out here? I don't see cattle, I see farmland. But could you imagine what this was like 100 years ago? Probably pristine and untouched. Now it's oil and it's all industry, which is not bad, but look at the huge sky. Wow. That's a cool rock formation right there. Huh. And then it gets ugly. Look at that view. So this is Westbrook, Texas, and I feel like I'm giving you a tour of every freaking city in Texas. However, I think I've never really seen this, because whenever I've come through here, it was always at night and it was just straight road. It's not that straight. We see a curve. That's one curve. Back out. Yeah, it's pretty straight. Yep. I know where I am. I've just never seen it. But we are coming up on the oil stuff. There will be a lot of it. We still have 369 miles to go. Well, the landscape has changed again. It's like we're in Monument Valley or something. Let me get around this guy. It looks really good. We're still in that Westbrook area, which is interesting. And we're a couple miles away from the 300-mile mark, so I'll give you an update in a minute. Just figured you'd want to see this cool landscape stuff, especially if you're in Europe and your name is Ferris. Hey Ferris, this is Texas, man. I know you watch all my videos. Thanks for liking and subscribing and commenting. I know you like the road trips too. Cool stuff. Wide open. All right, 300 miles, 300.5. We're averaging 19.7 since we left Dallas, and we've been going for 4 hours and 22 minutes and change. But you'll see here, it says 18.6, and that's overall on the vehicle. So if I go here to the next screen, we've done 4,870 miles on this Durango, and we've averaged 18.6 overall. So you saw we started at like 14 when we were in Dallas, and the average has gone up by 4. And meanwhile, I'm trying to get 23 on this trip, and we're getting there. We're getting closer. We look at my nav, we'll go to menu, we'll go to information, we'll go to trip computer. So right now we're doing 77. We've traveled 303 miles, 69 mile an hour average, 71 mile an hour average moving speed. So we did 109 mile an hour top speed. So I beat 106 already somehow. And then we've been stopped for 9 minutes and 19 seconds. So 4 hours and 13 minutes of driving so far today since we left Dallas. Let's go back to the map. All right, 346 to go. So we're almost at the halfway mark, practically. I'll give you an update when we get to the halfway mark. That's a refinery. Yep. Basically, that's where they turn oil into fuel. Well, I guess oil already is fuel. They make it something we can use somewhere else. Pretty crazy. And it's right here in Big Spring. Impressive, huh? I can tell that after driving this car, this Durango, all day today, that it's driving differently. It feels a lot more alive, and I'm not sure if it's the fuel or if it's just the breaking it in a little bit more, but it feels a lot more reactive and very smooth and much more pleasant to drive than it was in the city. And I think it's because we've been burning off a lot of that junk that's been sitting on it, because I haven't really been using it. And that's the thing, like, my philosophy is if you're going to buy a vehicle, the first thing you should do is do a road trip in it. That's the best way to break it in. And I never really did that with this. I mean, I took it to Austin and stuff, but that's 500 miles round trip, so 250. But we've already done 400, what have we done? 307 today. And we have many more to go. And this is just going to be an incredible experience, because I think that anyone who has a vehicle should be able to have a vehicle that's in a condition where they can just get in it and go. There should be no excuses. I mean, your car should be maintained, and it should be in a condition where you have no hesitation. And, you know, rather than flying over everything and just skipping over this stuff, I think it's worth it. Oh, he's losing a tire. That truck is losing a tire. You see that stuff? See that at the very end? Yep. We do have a lot of like shredded tires around here. Most of that's due to the fact that the speed limit is 75 and the temperature is 102. So that the tires, you know, after driving like this for hours on end, the tires are going to break down. They're just going to have a problem. And I don't want to be anywhere near those trucks in this condition, like in this weather or anything. But you got to keep your eyes open too. The last thing you want is to like sit next to that guy, because if that tire blows, the tire doesn't have a specific area where it just shreds to. The tire is going to turn into pieces and go everywhere. And the last thing you want to do is be next to that when it happens. So these people who use cruise control and then pass these trucks at slow speeds, you're asking for it. Just get around the truck and be done with it. Big Spring, next exit. Some podunk Texas town. Oh, they have an HEB here. That's weird. HEB is a grocery store like in San Antonio and Austin. They're coming way out. Oh, and there's a Starbucks. Huh. Who knew? Look at that Warner Brothers style water tower over there. Interesting. All right. Onwards.
Eu não sei pra onde ir.
Salsa africano.
Look at how fast they're going. 82. Passing this truck here. Look at the train. We're just catching up to the train. So if I have cruise on, look at that. We're going 85 miles an hour and we're hardly passing the train. Let me set cruise on. Cruise is set to 77. And there's the train right there. That train is moving. It goes all the way at the end of it, and then it goes all the way down there. Way, I can't even see the end of it way down there. And we're hardly passing it. I shouldn't be doing this, but I feel like it. That is a huge train. I don't know if this stuff comes from Houston and then they ship it back to like New Mexico and Arizona. Is it easier than going over the mountains? And that's a nice Challenger. That train is massive, man. That beep is my blind spot, so when I go around vehicles, I signal before I move in, and sometimes when I signal, it beeps at me to let me know there's someone still in my blind spot, but I consider it 5 points. There's the end of the train. Let's see if I can zoom in on it for you. Yep. Pretty cool. All right, 329 miles done and 319 to go. So I somehow passed the halfway point Must have been distracted by that train. Anyway, 19.7 mpgs. Hasn't really changed much. Oh, I got the sun like hardcore on me. And let's see, 18.7 overall. So overall is going up, which is weird because it's like over 4898. So yeah, Odessa, 43 miles. We're at 400 miles. Basically, you'll see it right there. Boom. 401.2. Averaging 20.3 in 5 hours, 41 minutes. And overall, close to 5,000. Almost there. 49.70. And the average is up to 19.5. So the overall average is up. And the trip since Dallas is up. But we are still in Texas. Actually, we are in Monhans, where the sand dunes are and stuff. Oh, look, the speed limit's 80 now, so we got to speed up. And we have a 328 mile range, and we have 246 to get to El Paso. So, time to kick it up a notch. We will do a 500 mile update and cool shit in between. How about that?
So you think you can tell heaven from hell? Cool breeze, cold comfort change. Same old ground, happy fan, same old feeling.
Okay, now here's the funny part. You're in the middle of nowhere, and you're like, oh, okay, I passed through some desert towns already, or whatever, mid-Texas towns. And it says exit 25, and you look around, and it's like, well, there's mile marker 29. And you're like, well, El Paso must not be that big of a place. Must be just like a speck, just like everything else. And then, well, I'll show you what happens when we realize what happens. It's pretty complicated, but like, it's funny. It's funny. All right, so you're like, oh, that's not El Paso. That's not all of El Paso. There's no way, because we're already at past what would be exit 25. We're like, no way. So if you never had GPS with you, you wouldn't know. Like, exit 25, yeah. There's 22, mile marker 22. You wouldn't realize exit 25 isn't here because you'd think Interstate 20 reaches the end of the state. Where's El Paso? Well, you look at the map and you realize, oh, we merged with Interstate 10. So this is the end of Interstate 20. Very funny. Very funny. And then when you get on Interstate 10, you realize you have a whole other distance to go. So you have about 160 miles left. So just as soon as you thought you were down, boom, 189 actually. There you are. You're left with more driving, which is funny, especially at night. I've done this. I've done this before. It's great. Alrighty, there we are, the merging of the 20 and the 10. I-20 and I-10 meet here, which means I still have 161 miles to go. Sorry about the shaky camera. Yep, here we are. The 20 ends and the 10 continues. Beautiful area here. And the speed limit's still 80. I'm averaging 20.1 on the distance from Dallas. And then overall, I'm averaging 19.6. So it went up from 14 when we started. And now it's evening out with the trip here, which is kind of cool. Speed limit, 80. And now we're heading west-ish rather than kind of southwest. And I can tell because we're heading towards the sun now. And it's probably going to get really annoying and really difficult to shoot out the front, but not from the side. And there's a picnic area with no restrooms. Typical. Don't know what to do if you don't know how to handle that. All right. A lot of people take breaks here because I guess there's really nothing else. And this is terrible to shoot on. Let's move out of the way here. Anyway, you can tell we're in a different geography again. And when we come up on mile marker like 150, like actually out here at night, it's spectacular because there are no lights and you can see the stars. It is an amazing stargazing area here. There's actually an observatory, the McDonald Observatory around here somewhere. But just look at this landscape. It's pretty nice. Pretty nice.
Voy sintiendo solo porque conozco esa sonrisa. Tú, solo por eso tú me ves a verme duro. Na, na, na.
Bam, 499.5 since we left Dallas, averaging 20.1. How come I cannot focus? Weird. Anyway, let's see if I can go in a little closer. There we go. Maybe. That's better. And then overall, 5,069.2, 19.6. So we're kind of stable at this point, and yeah, having a good time. Trying to get to 23, and I will. I know I will. You doubt me, but I will. With this landscape, I will. Also notice it's cooled down. It's only 91 degrees out. God, sorry for the shaky camera. 91. Let me clean the lens. Is that the problem here? Is that better? No. You'll see though, the temperature gauge has never hit half. And that's because we have this SRT hood that's standard on the RT. And it's got all these air vents in there. And it's just like, I think it's hampering some of the fuel efficiency, but it's also keeping it very cool, which should also help with the fuel efficiency. So we'll see. This is where we are. Beautiful out here. Absolutely beautiful. I think it's time to resume some music. Oh, we're going to cross the time zone change too. Where is that? Is that coming up here? Let's see. It's coming up. I'll let you know. It's kind of looking like Chatsworth out here, the way they cut these hills, like on the way to Simi Valley. Alright, time to resume music. Waiting for connection. Oh wow, 0 bars. No reception. Aha! So now let's just say you broke down and you need to know how far the nearest whatever is. You can if you have a cell phone for GPS when you plug it in with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay and you are in the middle of nowhere. This is where you would need it the most. Aha. So consider that, hipsters and millennials. You'd screw yourself if you just trusted on one device, aka your phone, to do everything for you. All you need is a dead battery or no reception. Well, we'll get to the time zone and we'll resume. Beautiful. Amazing out here. Just incredible. That's not good. Man, he lost a lot of tires on that. Holy moly. Nice place to be stuck, though. Really nice. Oh. Still no reception, so I don't have music. I do have the iPod, but I have been listening to Pandora. That's why all the wacky music has been going on. Because wacky music works. Keeps you entertained. Not that I need entertainment. I have plenty of entertainment with this V8 engine. But there is no one close by. Maybe I can just put my foot down a little bit, put it in sport mode. Oh yeah. Nice. Eventually we'll get to that time zone change. It's cool to see that. Yeah, I went to a rest stop. Time to get going. Couldn't hold it. Couldn't hold it. Let's get my seatbelt on. Alright. Park sense off. Yeah, I had a weird thing recently where the park sensor in the front fails. Park sense unavailable, service required. That only started 3 days ago, and I figured, screw it, it'll fix itself, but it hasn't, so I don't know what's on the front. Alright, 119 miles to go. There's a train. It's kind of cool to sit calm for a while, isn't it? Sport mode on. And we don't have far to go, 119 miles, and time of arrival is 9:48. So we actually saved some time since we first started. It said we were going to get there at 10:02. And yeah, it's 9:05. And you're thinking, hey, how do we get 116 miles in 43 minutes? And that's because there's a time zone that we cross. So we're going to go to distance. That thing is still flashing. I don't know, it's having a hard time. I'm not going to look at it. I'm not parking right now, so I don't need it. Alright, so I guess we'll just go for it. I usually don't peel out of restrooms or rest areas, but there's no one in front of us. So, park and brake off.
Route recalculation.
Yeah, that used some fuel. Burn the fuel. There's the train. I'm sure we'll catch up to it at some point. You might not be able to see it. It's like right there. Yep. I told you I would resume when we get to the time zone thing, and I haven't found it yet, but I'll do it. This is cool. This is cool. Take it out of sport mode here. I think what happens is in cruise control, it doesn't go into eco mode. It just stays in 8-cylinder mode. And when I take it off of cruise, I notice my fuel efficiency gets better. So cruise control eats into the fuel efficiency. And I don't remember using cruise on my way from Austin to Dallas in the 2016 Durango RT. So this is an interesting observation. There's the train. I don't know if that's the train I passed hours ago. It could be, because he's still moving. We're doing 82. And he looks like he's hardly moving. So he's going really fast. It's beautiful out here, don't you agree? I thank all of you for subscribing and watching my videos and commenting, liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, commenting, you know, all that stuff everyone always says on every video. Thank you very much. I think we're heading near a place called Van Horn. Oh yeah, Big Bend National Park. Just like incredible out here. Incredible. I love this. This is the best part of the drive. Still passing that train. And my windshield's getting dirtier. Nothing I can do about that. Speed limit is still 80. That train is massive. It's way down there. That's a huge train. Wow. There's the price of fuel, by the way. $2.75 for 87 octane, $2.99 for diesel. RV park. Right. Now we are heading towards El Paso, and I know that there's been a lot of news about El Paso lately, relating to the politicians basically leveraging that town. And I have nothing to say about it other than I've been there before. I have friends who came from there, friends who still live there, and it's just another town. And it's not the only border town. There are lots of border towns: New York, Seattle, San Diego, Malibu, Santa Barbara, San Francisco. The entire freaking coastline of the United States, everything along that coast is a border town. So El Paso is no different than anywhere else. It just happens to be the higher trafficked area because there's a bridge. If you really want to solve your problem, get rid of the bridge. We would never do that. Never. And this bridge thing actually is only connecting to one country. So you'd think the immigration problem would be more serious than just from one country, and it is. So why do people jump to conclusions? I just don't get it. It's not just El Paso, and it's not just Mexico, and it's not just people from Mexico. It's people from all over the world who try and come to the United States. So when I go to El Paso, it is a great city. It's a sketchy city because people don't trust it, and I like that. I love it because it feels like Los Angeles. And people are sketchy in LA too. People are sketchy all over the place. It's all relative, is what I'm trying to say. Relative. All right, I'll catch you when that time zone thing happens. I promise. Is that it? Is that it? I can't tell. It's too dark out. That must be it. Yep, right there. Hudspeth County entering Mountain Time Zone. And just like that, one 40-year-old in front of you got 1 hour younger. And you'll see on the clock, it'll adjust very shortly. It says 9:13, 9:14, eventually, oh, there we go. It says 8:14 now, just like magic. And that's another benefit, by the way, to having GPS systems embedded in your vehicle, because as you go across the country, your vehicle automatically adapts to the location or the region. Your phone does it, but your car needs to do it too. So here I am running my phone separately from the vehicle, and everything updates on its own, and my distance is still the same, and my arrival time is still in the 9 o'clock hour, and there you go. It has actually announced my arrival from the very get-go accurately, and some vehicle navigation systems aren't this good. This, though, is fantastic. Another reason why journalists drive the Dodge Durango. All right, going on with our journey. Got some Stevie Ray Vaughan cranking. How ironic. So that's the soundtrack from Johnny Greenwood to There Will Be Blood, and that is actually shot in Marfa, Texas, which is about 100 miles behind us. But this is like the scenery that would have prevailed in that film, which Rolling Stone called the best movie of the century, and I wholeheartedly agree. It's sort of how I came up with, ideas. Anyway, it's really cool that Pandora, I guess, somehow matches my location or something to the music that it plays now. And I've had Pandora for like 11 years, and this is not a plug, and I'm not paid by them. I just think it's really cool that it just randomly pulled in that song out of any song in the universe, and I'm here. And I haven't heard that song on Pandora in years. Crazy. I know. Crazy. Crazy. Absolutely. So there's another train right there. Oh, another one. Oh my god. I don't know how Pandora did that, but of course, like, I'm in the desert and now it starts to be like, oh well, you need some like Western movie classic soundtrack. There's the train. Low light is really hard in here. There's the locomotive front. Hard to shoot, getting dark, really dark, real quick. So I guess my next shot will be when I get to El Paso and you'll see a bunch of city lights. And yeah, it'll be cool. And then I'm gonna go to a hotel. So if you don't hear from me, then that's the end of this part of the film. This whole thing has been really cool. And it's the first part of the road trip, the epic road trip in the 2019 Dodge Durango RT, baby. So I'll give you a recap on the fuel and stuff when I get to my stop. And so far so good, right? Except for that park thing, but we'll figure out what happens there. Let's see. Nope, still doesn't like it. That's fine. Maybe there's like a bug or something on the sensor. We'll see. In the meantime, I guess we're gonna jam out to Yo-Yo Ma? No, we're gonna go next. What's it gonna do for me next? The mission? Another Yo-Yo Ma? Oh. Da, 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 da. Sounds great. Well, I'm sure I'm going to get copyright flagged on that one. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Oh, Pandora. Pandora, you crack me up. You guys want to listen to the next song it queued for me? You are crazy, Pandora. What is this for? Why? How did I deserve this? Just because I'm near El Paso or something? I don't get it. This is nutty. Absolutely nutty. too laughing too hard. Just like it just came on, and I'm like, oh my god! It was after that other song. It's too funny. It's awesome and funny at the same time. It's great. Oh man. Anyway, I'll catch you when the next hilarious song comes up, courtesy of Pandora. See, I'm recording from one phone, but my other phone is actually right here. And so if I show you, literally, it says that there, and that's what's playing here. Let me see if I can focus on it. It's hard to focus with two phones. Well, there you go, you kind of get it. Trust me, it's funny. Too funny. I wonder what happens if I press play. Okay, and then we'll skip to the next song. What's next? Billy the Kid. Oh, yeah, you're killing me. Pandora, you're killing me. This is too good. Way too good. This is worth the copyright claim. Let me know if you agree. Please help me make up for the loss of my revenue by watching my other videos. Or watching more videos. And just watch my playlists. And just keep watching them. Even when you're sleeping, just turn them on. Yeah, you're good. Alright. Time to concentrate. I'll be right back. Alright, Pandora. You failed me. You failed me. That's absolutely terrible, Pandora. You go from Aaron Copland to Ed Sheeran. That guy? Yeah. And of all, like, things, a guy from England who has a song about LA. Which, no. No. Absolutely not. Oh my god, it's a song about my friends in LA. Oh, I wonder who they are. Yeah, I know who they are. You don't. You might. I might tell you about it. I might. They'd love for me to tell you about them. That's just the kind of people they are. And, yeah, I'll tell you everything. Everything. It's interesting. It's not my thing, but they dig it. And, yeah, terrible friends, turns out. But this song is right on point. Alright, we're heading downhill. Look at that sunset. It's absolutely vibrant red. Really cool. You can mix the taillights of that truck up with the sunset. Cool. But heading downhill, evidenced by the active, average, and whatever fuel economy. I can get it to 99 for you. There you go. And am I at 579? Okay, so we have 20 miles to go, but keep an eye on the overall average, which is in the top right corner right there, 20.5. And then the current average, since we left Dallas, in the center of the screen there, 20.7. When we get to 600 miles, which is in 20 miles, I will give you an update, and you'll see what kind of impact going downhill into El Paso has. It's pretty profound. Like, you can't... it's a huge amount of gain. And that's how I'm able to understand the differences. But I really do think we can get 23 in here on the entire trip. By the end of the trip, we'll do it. We can do it. But I'm really astonished at the average since lifetime. So if I go to this section, this screen here, 5150 for miles. And it's average 20 and a half. And that's with city driving and everything else. So if we go here, we go to nav and menu and information. Oop, I didn't click it. Information. Trip computer. Distance to final destination is 67. Vehicle speed right now is 71, 72. We're almost done 600 miles. And then if we go down, 7 hours, 58 minutes. 7:47 moving, 11:39 stopped. Maximum speed, 109. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So in the meantime, we're gonna head downhill. We're gonna leverage all this. Looking good, looking good. And I'll give you an update at the 600. In the meantime, listen to this.
Feeling something right.
Alrighty, 600.2 miles. And since Dallas, we have been averaging 21.2 mpgs. Oh, why is it locked? There we go. Really clear tonight. Alright, so 21.2 mpgs since Dallas, over 600 miles. We're on the second tank, or like the second half tank, and you can see in the right corner there, the fuel gauge is at a quarter tank. Something like that. Maybe, no, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, quarter tank, that's 2/8 left. And then the range, 132. And the overall fuel economy, since the life of the vehicle, since I started driving it, 5,170.4 miles. As you can see, it matches the odometer down below. Averaging 21 mpgs, which is crazy because we started with like 14 of nothing but city driving in Dallas. And it's increased that much. And we've gone 600 miles now. So we've done like 10% of the overall odometer in today alone. And it has pretty much matched today's fuel economy, which is crazy. That's crazy math right there. And 46 miles to go. Pardon, it's hard to do this with one arm. Okay. 93 degrees out. And yeah, that's where we're at. I haven't exceeded the maximum speed, but we've gone downhill. It's dark out, if you can't tell. Let's see if we can get some low light stuff. Nope, that's it. And we are on our way to El Paso, so I will resume this when we get into the city. You'll see some city lights, and then we'll give you one last recap, and then I'll head to the hotel. That's Mexico over there. That's El Paso over there. Now, I've been through El Paso many times, and I've seen it under construction a lot of those times, but man, has this place transformed in the last 11 years. The first time I was through here was like 2008. And like the freeways have been widened, the overpasses are in, the businesses have come back, and there are more businesses than before, and just it's vibrant here. That's the word to describe it. So don't knock it till you try it. But sure, there's some corporate stuff here. There's even a Rudy's barbecue, but I would say, like, from the perspective of a road trip, don't avoid El Paso. I think this place is just such an eye-opener because you hear about it in the news and it's not fair. It's just not fair. Like, way over there is Mexico, and I don't think this camera's gonna pick up any of those lights, but it's just so cool out here. It's so cool.
Prepare to exit the highway in 2 miles at exit 25.
Okay, we're getting close to our destination. So what I'll do is, well, we'll ride it on in. How about that? We'll just go right on in here. We'll take it in. Airway, or airways. Oh, look at this music. Great. There's actually a great part of this song. We'll play it in a second. Let's see, 1.1 miles, so that's about 60 seconds. I gotta move over one more lane. I don't want to get flagged, so I'll just keep it right there. There's a great laugh track on here. I think it's not a laugh track. It's actually someone doing it live, like you're, because it's at a concert. It's hilarious. It's a great song. Mariposa.
In half a mile, exit the highway at exit 25.
On it. Sorry for the bumpy. I'm holding it with my left arm. It's kind of hard. Let's see.
Exit the highway at exit 25.
We are on it. And how funny of Pandora to just totally like switch up songs. Exit. I love the way the Durango handles on the highway. It's fantastic. Very smooth, although I got a bumpy arm. I still watch out for how people drive around here because they're not always from Texas. I'm sure she wants us to go right. Alright, the laugh thing's coming up.
In 1,000 feet, turn right onto Airway Boulevard, then arrive at your destination on the left. Take the next left onto Airway Boulevard, then arrive at your destination on the left.
Okay, here we are. Airways. So if you make a right, you end up at El Paso International Airport. There's some really cool light fixtures here. Those tall things are actually
destination.
Those tall things are actually windmill kind of things. It's really cool here. You're in the desert. There's a Starbucks. I go to that every morning when I leave El Paso. And then right here is the Shell station where I'm going. So this is where we will make our stop. We will call this the destination. What I'll do is head over to this pump.
You have reached your destination.
Ah! Oh, look at that. It's $2.64 a gallon here, by the way, for 87 and $3.24 for 91. And yeah, 91, not 93. Let's put that in drive. Okay, let's go over this real quick. We averaged 22.4 on the trip from Dallas. Let's see if I can focus better. There we go. 22.4 on the trip from Dallas, and overall 22.1 over 5,217 miles. The drive time is not correct. It's correct here, 8 hours and 56 minutes. And then we can go here and go to menu, information, trip computer, and we can see we're not going anywhere right now. We've done 663 miles, which doesn't match that. So this is the GPS something. I don't know why it's off. And then 75 was the overall average speed, and then the moving average was 76. Don't understand that. Max was 109 according to GPS. And yeah, travel time spent stop 12 minutes 19 seconds. So I'm actually thinking I'm not going to refuel here. I'm going to have a full tank here. I just feel like if this thing disappears overnight, people are going to get very far, obviously, on one full tank, but it's insured. Anyway, there you go. Let's fill this thing up. Turn it off. And hopefully my battery won't screw me over here. It's weird that I didn't realize it was 86 instead of 87 octane, and 88 instead of 89, and 91 instead of 93. Okay, there you go. That was $60 worth of fuel, 20 gallons, 20 and a half gallons since our last fill up. So yeah, let's turn this on. Now we have a full tank again and we're good to go. But what I'm gonna do is spend the night in the hotel, even though I feel pretty good. The next drive, the next leg in the next version is gonna be very, very, very brutal. So I'll save that for the next video. And one thing to note is that you do want to carry cash with you just in case your credit card doesn't work at places like the pump or the restaurant. So definitely bring the same amount of cash you would have to spend on fuel for several tanks in order to keep going, because if your card is skimmed, stolen, lost, whatever, you don't want to be stranded at a gas station with no fuel. That's pretty bad. So always carry cash, enough cash. You don't need thousands of dollars, but you need probably $400, even if you had to have a hotel room or something, just to make sure that you don't get screwed over. And obviously, you don't have to keep all the cash in your wallet. You know, you can have it in different things and bags and stuff, but just keep yourself protected. Anyway, there you go. Just one spliff, one good spliff, and I'm gonna call it a night. See ya. Oh, by the way, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and that was fun, and there's more fun on the way. So, I'll see ya.